So what we're going to look at here with Liz, she's going to be modelling for us, and we're going to look at just her knee alignment here. And Liz is a really good example of someone who has a natural valgus in their legs, or particularly in their knee. So when we say valgus, if you look at the line from the patella up to the anterior superior iliac spine, if you draw a line straight down through there, you can see it's on an angle that's coming in medially, and that's on both sides. So if you take another line from the middle of the patella up to ASIS and just follow that line of the femur down, you can see that it's got a natural kind of tendency for the legs to come in on the angle. So that's going to predispose Liz to be a little bit more medially dominant, so her knees are going to track into the centre a bit more. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just something we need to be aware of, so when we're programming, that we can encourage Liz with our technique and our cueing to make sure that she's really focusing on this patella tracking and making sure it's lining up with the mid part of her foot, particularly in things like when we're doing lunges, squats, any kind of jumping, explosive type of movement. So she's getting a good contraction and evenly distributed through that whole joint. Okay, so if you can just turn and face that way for me. Now, look from the side, it's got really good quad development and really good calf development. Liz does a lot of exercise, a lot of training. Okay, from the side, she's not hyperextending her knees at all, which is really nice. If she was to hyperextend her knee, she'd see the knee pop back, and then as she pops back, her lower back goes into more of a lordosis or into extension. So she's actually got a nice soft knee there. So we want to really watch for that. Okay, you'll find a lot of people, if they're a little bit more valgus dominated, they'll turn internally rotate, and that can also then snap the knee posteriorly and put that into extension. That's not such a cool thing, because if the knee snaps back posteriorly, it's going to compress the anterior compartment of the knee joint itself, so you're going to get meniscus kind of growing on meniscus, so it's easier to kind of do a cartilage injury. You're also going to get some of this kind of femoral kind of internal rotation happening here. So each time heel striking, you're going to get the tibia and the femur slightly rotating across each other. So if we're not really conscious of our posture and our alignment during exercise, that can predispose this type of knee to some kind of like tracking problems, so some kind of like ITB, tightness issues, some kind of gluteal issues up the top here as well, potentially maybe some shin issues, or even an ankle rolling issue here, because you can see the ankle's going to slightly go into more eversion as it's trying to control that medial direction through to the inside. You have to just turn around and face the wall for me. Now from the posterior aspect there, again you can see really good quad development, okay, even hamstring development, calves look very nice and even, probably a little bit more developed on the left side, which is really natural. You're never going to find anyone who's exactly balanced left and right, but what we're looking for particularly is really obvious muscle differences. So you might get a client come in and their calf might be this much bigger, so if you measured it with a tape measure, there might be 3 or 4 centimeters difference. That's a pretty big difference in terms of muscle balance, so we're looking for things like that as well. And again, from the rear, you can kind of see this line coming down through the knee and then down through the tibia. Looking at the angle of the Achilles heel will tell us there's a lot of inversion going on. Fairly straight Achilles heel, so that's not too bad. The Achilles tendon going into the calcaneus there, so that's nice. If it's a really excessive, you'll see that the line there will slightly kind of kick around a little bit, and that's going to suggest that there's a lot of inversion happening, or eversion, depending which way the ankle's rolling. So we've got this kind of line down through here, a line down through there, and then we're going to take that up through the rest of the spinal column. So when we're looking at a whole posture, looking at the legs, how they ground in the earth through the feet, and that's going to dictate particularly how the pelvis is going to orientate and how the spinal column is going to sit within that pelvis.